This is James. Not only did he transform his body in 30 days, but also his mindset as well. Here is how he did it and some of the tactics I used on him to achieve his goals. James is currently weighing in at 66.7 kg. He told me his goals were to gain size and muscle mass. This is what James currently looks like, and these are his measurements. Starting off at days 1 to 10, my tactic is going to be make James's workouts really easy for the first 10 days and not advise him to go to the gym more than 3 times a week. The two main reasons being his muscles are going to be sore, and when James thinks of going to the gym, I want him to think of easy and fun rather than hard and boring. My goal when coaching James is to make him go to the gym for a long period of time, not just for the 30 days. Or like most people, after a month they quit because they don't look like David Laid. James didn't have a clue how to do any of the exercises, knew anything about dieting or progressive overload. This is where I stepped up and explained to him the basics of lifting, dieting and progressive overload. My goal was not to overwhelm him and keep it basic for now. When starting off, form is the most important thing. I taught him how to do all the exercises in the correct form, and if he done something wrong, I would correct him straight away. Reason being is, if someone starts working out with the wrong form, it will not only be hard to fix that later on, but there's a really high chance they will injure themselves and not make any progress in the gym. But if I'm being honest, James really impressed me by how fast he was learning things, taking constructive criticism and adapting to what I tell him to do. Days 1 to 10, I just focused on his form and trying to perfect it, keeping it simple. Days 10 to 20, this is where I started to increase James's workout intensity because I started to see his form get way better and I wanted to push his limits. I upped his workout routine, so instead of James going to the gym 3 times a week, he was going to 6 times a week, which is quite a big jump. But I want to speed up his progress because we do only have 30 days to transform his body. Upping his workout intensity was challenging for him, but he managed to push through it and stick with it. But this is where we ran into our first problem. You see, around day 18, I started to notice James was fatigued and his muscles were still sore from the previous workout, because at the start of our workout, his muscles were shaking, and he also told me he was fatigued. So there are only 2 things this really means. He isn't getting enough sleep or enough protein. I asked him how much sleep he was getting. He told me 6 to 7 hours, which is not ideal, but it's fine. After talking to him and asking him to send me pictures of his meals that he was eating, it was obvious he wasn't getting enough protein in. Most of his meals were highly processed foods or had little to no meat, which is not ideal, especially for hitting your protein intake. You should be eating around 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So around 147 grams of protein is what James should have been eating. But judging by his meals, he was barely getting half of that. After talking to James and advising him to eat more protein, a couple of days later he wasn't feeling fatigued and he told me his muscles weren't sore anymore. Days 20 to 30 is where it all took a turn for James. James started to develop a bigger appetite because I told him to eat more. And this is when James also exploded in strength as well. Not only because he started to eat more, but because he was also training with me. You see, when you train with someone who is stronger than you, naturally it sets a higher bar for you to try and lift the same weight as the other person. Whenever you're going to lift weights with someone, try to make sure they're at least on your level or even better than you, because it will push you that slight bit to do more. Look, before I show you James's transformation, the biggest reason he managed to make such a big transformation in only 30 days is because he took constructive criticism, pushed himself, and most importantly stayed consistent with working out and getting his meals in. There wasn't a single day James didn't show up or didn't go to the gym because he didn't feel like it. He showed up no matter what and put in the work. So this is what James looked like at day 30. If you want to be coached by me for 30 days for free, fill out the form in the description below and I'll pick a handful of people to coach for free.